Hello, everyone. I'm Fred Oakman here with Mr. Jake Peters. You're listening to PS This is Awesome, a PlayStation podcast. This is episode 358, where we dive into our thoughts on all things PlayStation. This is the end of 2024. But before we jump in, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/PS This is Awesome, where you can also watch the video version of this podcast. You can check out our trophy list on the PlayStation Network. I'm Anchorless_81, and Jake is JakeSaw01. You can send your thoughts to psthisisawesome@gmail.com. Share the show with friends. And don't forget to rate us. For just $1 on Patreon, you can join our one and only $1 club. That's right. You can support our show and receive a free die-cut vinyl sticker like this right here if you're watching on YouTube. And a shout out on the show. So you can do that by going to patreon.com/PS This is Awesome to support us. And now through the end of December. So this is the last time you will have an opportunity to do this. We're running a deal for first month subscriptions. You get 25% off. So that means you can jump onto this gravy train of a podcast for 75 cents for your first month. You will get an early access to the show. Hopefully, we don't promise it, we try to make it happen, and you also get a shout out and a sticker for 75 cents for your first month. You can use the code 25OFF. In addition, you can now gift the show to a friend. So if you really like the show and you want someone else to listen with you, go to patreon.com/PS This is Awesome/gift, and we will give them a free sticker and a shout out as well for $1 a month. Remember, if you like our podcast, it does a lot of good. If you can like, comment, and subscribe to any of the videos on YouTube, because that helps us out quite a bit. And with that out of the way, let's get on with our show. Jake, how are you doing?
Pretty good. I just got back yesterday. I'm a little tired. I got back yesterday from Virginia. I was down there for a family function for the last 4 days, I guess you could say. So yesterday, I got up early, visited with my grandma for a bit, then drove back. And as soon as I got back, I immediately packed my hockey stuff and went and played hockey. And then got home, and it was really windy. Like, I don't know what it was like in Meadville, but out here it was like super windy last night.
Yeah, it was nuts.
And around 11:30, our power started flickering in and out really bad.
Okay.
So as I always typically do when that happens, is I went into the basement, I shut off the main breaker for the house. Mm-hmm. And just because... I got my TV on surge protectors, but and my PlayStation is on a surge protector, but it's like my heat pump's not on a surge protector, my refrigerator's not on a surge protector, my oven's not on a surge protector. So it's like when you live in an area that's rural with suspended power lines, anytime there's a lot of wind, you have a risk of... And the way that the power is flickering in and out made me think that like a tree was probably dangling across power lines or something.
Yeah.
But so I shut off the main breaker, and we just kind of slept on the couch for an hour and a half, and then I got up and turned the main breaker back on to just make sure the power was steady and it wasn't flickering anymore. So we didn't actually end up getting to bed until like 2:00 in the morning after the long day that I had already had. So it was... I'm a bit tired, but nothing bad. Just a lot of running around.
Yeah.
But my trip was really good. My grandma turned 90, and we had a birthday party for her. So that was really fun.
Cool. Yeah, man, that's good. And we are back in after Christmas. Christmas was last week. We recorded, I think, before Christmas. And now here we are going into New Year's. New Year's is going to be... January 1st will be the day this episode airs for everybody. And we're recording this on... I don't know what today is. 29th?
The 30th.
Today's the 30th. Recording this on the 30th. Very good. Yeah, dude, cool. I went and... I'm kind of apprehensive about even bringing this up on the show because it could open up into like a long conversation about something I don't know a whole lot about. I went and saw an Otters game What day was that? Thursday? I don't know. But that's it. I haven't been to that ice rink since they were the Panthers.
So what, like 25 years ago?
Yeah.
30 years ago?
And the only hockey game I've been to prior to this was when we went to see the Penguins play. Were you at that with Keith?
With Keith?
Yeah. That was the last hockey game I'd been at. So that's probably been 12 years or so.
Long time. Yeah.
So I don't go to hockey games often, but that was kind of fun. They played this team from Canada. I don't know. I couldn't even pronounce it. The Gruel or the...
Oh, the Guelph Storm?
Yeah, that's who it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we won 4-1. They pulled their goalie, and there was one penalty. So what happens? Like, it wasn't very violent. I thought it'd be a little more physical. I guess there are high school students that play on the Otters.
So the OHL, which is the league that the Otters are a part of, is what's called a major junior league. So it's still technically juniors, but it's the highest level. So a lot of those players will go directly into the NHL, if not into the AHL, which is like the minor leagues for the NHL.
Yeah.
And so major junior, I think, is 16 to 21-year-olds. So there could be guys there that are anywhere from 16 to 20 or 21 years old.
Yeah. So what constitutes a penalty shot that's not a shootout at the end of the game? Why did I see one of those?
So was it in the middle of the game? They did a penalty shot. So what happens? The reason why they call a penalty shot is, well, there are some weird instances where it can be called, but generally what it means is that a player is in on a breakaway on a goalie, and he is penalized while he has an open attempt on
so
goal.
He got tripped or something.
Yeah, so like if a player's on a breakaway, there's nobody in his way, and then someone hauls him down, basically preventing him from making his attempt.
Yeah,
he gets a penalty shot rather than a traditional penalty where the player just goes to the box.
I see. That's it. So it's a more egregious penalty.
Well, it's just considered like during regular play, if you penalize someone, you're not necessarily stealing their attempt at a goal or something. Whereas like in that instance, that player has a breakaway. By penalizing them, you're taking away their attempt at scoring.
I was excited to see that happen.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, it doesn't happen very often in terms of like in-game penalty shots. Shootouts at the end of the game are a lot more common, but in-game penalty shots are relatively rare.
Yeah, he missed. It was funny. It was the other team.
But the penalty shots are a blessing and a curse because the person that is penalized has to take the penalty shot.
Right.
It's not like you can just pick the best player on your team to go out there and do the penalty shot. And there's no power play after that. So sometimes it's actually better to just take a regular penalty and get a power play than it is to take a penalty shot. But generally, I think, one-on-one with a goalie is preferred.
Yeah, that makes sense. That was cool. So I did that. We played some more Hero Quest, of course. And, man, we're just sliding right back into time just passing. This is crazy. It's already almost 2025. But I don't have anything else to add to the intro of the show, but I do have some stuff to talk about as far as games we're playing. Did you have anything else for the intro?
I don't think so. I guess the one thing that I will bring up, because it's not, I mean, it's related to video games, but it's not technically a video game, is I did end up watching the rest of the Extra Life, or what the fuck's that
Secret
show
Level.
called? Secret Level. I did watch the rest of the Secret Level episodes after we talked last week about how I discovered that there was like 7 more episodes I didn't know about. And they're fine. The PlayStation one is really bad. In my opinion, it's really bad, and I think that seems to be the general consensus. But the Concord one actually wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
It was pretty fun. Did you watch them?
I watched a few more. I watched the Space Marines one, which was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And I watched the one with Keanu Reeves.
Oh, the Armored Core one. That one was pretty wild.
That was kind of cool. And yeah, I think those.
Did you like how the Space Marine one was like directly related to the games?
It's fucking
because
awesome.
it has Titus in it.
So cool.
Which I think is pretty freaking cool.
It was really cool, and that's the only other two that I've watched since the last time I reported on it. But yeah, that Space Marines one is I could easily sit and watch a movie of that caliber. Like, give me an hour and a half of that.
It would be cool. Yeah, you wouldn't want it to be like super long because there isn't a lot of
dialogue. But
there's not a lot of dialogue substance with those characters, but you could see how they can make like a pretty awesome like 90-minute movie or something that was just fucking action.
Well, the quality
like that would be pretty rad.
The quality's unbelievable. Yeah. Like the animation and all the rendering, and not to spoil anything, but like when they land on that planet and those dudes are coming at them like with their motorcycles and shit, and the Marines are just like, let's dance, and like they didn't even say a word to one another, but they just fucking wreak havoc, and it's the coolest fucking thing. It's
pretty rad. Yeah,
it's so cool. But very good. Cool, man. All right, well, let's get into games we're playing. This is going to be a shorter episode. It's the end of the year. There's absolutely no news to talk about. So what we're going to talk about today are a quick recap of 2024 and then maybe some things we're interested in coming in 2025. But I had somebody had written in a while back, and they asked if I was going to play the G.I. Joe beat-em-up game. And I figured, hey, what the hell, for Christmas, I'll buy it for myself. So I got it. It's $24.99. Man, I'm so all over on this game because, number one, if you know the show, you know that I like beat 'em ups. I love them. Streets of Rage, Final Fight, Fatal Fury, all these fucking cool ass, games. TMNT, Shredder's Revenge, all that stuff. Love them. So when they were making a G.I. Joe one, my initial impression of it was, well, this kind of looks like shit. When I saw them announce it, like it looks like, I don't know. I'm like, this better. If this game sucks, it best be a labor of love from just people who are just tired of there being shitty G.I. Joe games. They want to try something better. So I treated myself. I picked it up on the PlayStation Network, and I took a break from my final run in Darkest Dungeon 2, which was, in fact, me taking a break from Metro Awakening, which was me taking a break from Astrobot. So I'm like 3 games removed at this point from my starting point. But I figured, well, this is a beat 'em up game. It won't take long to beat, and then I can treat myself to some easy, good fun this week, and now it'll give me something to talk about on the show. So I booted up, and it's almost like if I had a fever dream, and I created G.I. Joe. This is what it would look like. It's so fucking close. Like the animations and stuff. Like they tried to, they almost recreated the intro to the cartoon, but it was all redone, and the song was brand new. But it was off, and then the voices were off just enough that you knew they weren't the right voices, but they were trying to be the voices. And then the guy who they hired to voice Cobra Commander might even be the real Cobra Commander. His voice was perfect, except our podcast audio quality is better than the audio quality of the voiceovers in this game. So it literally sounds like somebody's talking into an old tape recorder. Is that you can hear like the hiss when the dialogue is about to come on, you hear it pop in. It's like, and then it's like, "Yo, Joe, this is Cobra Commander," and it cuts out. And like, whoever recorded the audio, the gain is just cranked, so there's like a level of distortion to it also. And it's like, guys, I'm right here. Like, I could have fucking recorded your audio for you, and it would have sounded 100 times better, and I would have done it for nothing. And so, major issues with the audio. It's laughable. But then you get into the game, and you have 4 characters you can pick from initially. It's got a little bit of a menu. It's like, start the game, bonuses or extras, and then it's like shop, so you can use in-game items that you pick up, like floppy drives, after you get enough to unlock additional shit for the game, which is great. And then it's like you can rewatch the credits. And I'm like, all right, this is kind of cool. And you get into it. So let me be clear, like the intro, and there's 2 middle of the game cutscenes, we'll call them cutscenes, and then there's a end game cutscene. They're not like cutscenes. They are because it's animation. It's just animation. The game itself is 16-bit. It's 16-bit graphics. Honestly, pretty impressed with the characters, like the sprites for the characters. Pretty fucking good, actually. And I'm like, this is cool. So, but the gameplay, garbage. Gameplay handles like shit. Audio is shit. Now, the gameplay isn't shit. It's just not Streets of Rage good. You know, like a lot of those beat 'em up games, how there will be like trash cans and all kinds of shit, like road cones, and you can hit them, and like usually something happens. About 30% of the things that look like you can hit, you can actually interact with. The other stuff, you literally just walk right over top of them. They're just painted into the scene. And it's like...
Oh, that's so ghetto.
Yeah, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? The combat's kind of fun. You can pick up guns, which is interesting. They work fine. Everybody has their own special move, which I appreciate. Snake Eyes. So the 4 characters you can be Scarlet, you can be Snake Eyes, Duke, and you can be Roadblock. They all have a taunt, which as far as I know does nothing. Roadblock's taunt is kind of cute. He holds up like the chef, the spatula and a hamburger in one hand because he's the cook for the G.I. Joe team. And Snake Eyes does like this thing where he goes like this and he prays, or he like does this like thing. And I don't remember what Scarlet does. And Duke just does like this really, what you'd expect, like salute. Like he stands up and does like one of these. Those are the taunts, and it's cool that you have that option. They don't do anything though. They don't restore your superpower. You have a special move that runs based on your combos. It keeps track of combos and stuff. The boss fights are pretty much all the same. It's just a different character. All the environments are different. One of my gripes about the game is when you go from stage 1 to stage 2 to stage 3 to stage 4, you don't always get the flavor text to tell you why you're in this new stage. So in one stage, like I'm fighting in a city, and in the next stage, I'm like, apparently like in the Arctic, and it doesn't tell you why. But if I leave the game and go back and load that level, then I get the text why I'm going to the Arctic. I get more of the story. So like it didn't even load.
Weird.
Yeah, it didn't even load the story right. But as a beat 'em up, I've played worse. Honestly, I've played worse. And it's and what's fun about it is they did a really good job with introducing new enemies. Just regular Cobra troopers for a while, and then like the Cobra trooper will come out that has the bazooka, and you're like, oh, I remember that fucking guy. And then the Crimson Guard will come out later in another stage of the red guys, and like they have their special move. They kind of teleport. So that's kind of cool. And then there's hiss tanks, and then they have the trouble bubbles, and they have all this shit slowly just comes out. By the end of the game, you have all these alley vipers and like cool ass bad guys, and then you know your end boss is usually the Baroness or Destro or Cobra Commander. There were 2 bosses I didn't like. One was called Dark Duke, so it was like Duke, but it was like the shadow version. They didn't explain why that existed. And then there was like a Cobra Commander before Cobra Commander, so like he was in there twice. And there was a Dark Snake Eyes you had to fight, They didn't explain why there was a dark. Maybe there's an homage to another beat 'em up that I didn't pick up on. Long story short, with all of its shortcomings, I'm happy to report it is the best G.I. Joe game that has been made so far. Not saying a lot, but it is the best one. I've unlocked. There's 2 character unlocks that you can unlock. I've managed to unlock Gung Ho, and his special is cool. Like he plants like this flag down, and then 4 generic G.I. Joe guys. They're just like the Green Army men come out and they help fight the bad guys for a bit. That's a kind of cool special move. And the other special character that I could unlock, oh gosh, is it Dial Tone? No, it's Ripcord. It's Ripcord. And I think maybe he comes down on like a parachuter. He probably has parachuter guys come down. I haven't gotten enough floppy drives to beat it, but I did beat the game. And the last level was hard. It was hard. And a lot of games, when you die, you get 3 lives. If you die in a level, you have the option to continue and pick right back up there. Oh, no, not this game. They send you back to the beginning of the level. So that's kind of weird, because if I start a run and I'm on level 1 and I die once on level 1, I get to level 2, die again. And then by level 3, I only have 2 guys left or 1 guy left. If I get to the boss and get killed, I can start back up at the beginning of level 3 with all my guys. So what you do is if you're down a life and you're starting a new level, just quit the game and go back in and continue the story from that level, and you get all your lives back. So that's kind of weird. Then there's no penalty for that. It's just, okay. So like they should just let you fucking continue, is my point. But you can play 4 players at once. I had a buddy over for Hero Quest that stayed, and we did a couch co-op. That was fun. You can't grab onto enemies like in like Streets of Rage or anything like that while they're standing up. You just have to fight them. And there is a block mechanic in the game and a parry system, which is completely unnecessary for a beat 'em up. I never used it once. It's fucking weird, man. And a lot of the developers seem to have Indian names from India, so I'm guessing, I don't know if it was developed out there. G.I. is huge; it's worldwide. Or like if they outsourced a lot of the game development, like this company. The company's called Maple Leaf Games or something. So I thought they would be like a Canadian company. And maybe, I don't know. Maybe I'm just showing some ignorance. Maybe there's a big Indian population in Canada. I don't know. For game development, I think they're a Canadian company. But anyways, dude, I bought this game and I played it and I beat it. And it's now off my list. And I was going to buy it whether or not our listener had asked if I had gotten it. It was on my radar. And I was just like, fuck it. I'm just going to have fun and get this thing. I will say that it crashed 3 times. And this is sad because it is the best G.I. Joe game out there. From a G.I. Joe fan's perspective. I figured out why it was crashing. So Snake Eyes' special move, he holds up a bone and his wolf Timber comes running, which is funny that it's a bone. It's not a dog, it's a fucking wolf. Like, he should come up, like, maybe like did a wolf call or something. But he's quiet, so I don't know how they would get him out there. But anyways, Timber gets on the screen, attacks all these bad guys, and then when his time's up, he runs off the screen. He would sometimes get caught trying to leave the screen and would just get stuck. And he would do the motion like he's running. And then he would be on the screen for so long that you could actually get your bonus again. You could get your bonus again. And Jake, I think I lost you. Are you there?
Can you hear me?
Your camera shut off, I think.
Right.
Wait.
How about now?
There, it's back. All right, good deal. So, anyways, Timber would be trying to escape. I would build up another combo and call him again, and I would have 2 Timbers on the screen at once. That would cause the game to crash. And another thing that happened is one of the bosses, I was hitting, and I knocked him off the screen so far that he couldn't come back into the game view, and the game just shut off. And then that happened twice. So every time I fought a final boss, I'd have to kind of juggle left and right to keep him in the middle of the screen so I wouldn't crash the game. So, like, dude, it's fucking jank as shit, but it was kind of cool seeing all the characters in 16-bit looking good. It's just like, fuck. How do you afford the license to make this game, but you can't afford to make the game better than what you did? I don't understand it. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I'm glad that you're at least enjoying something generally from
The G.I. Joe world?
the G.I. Joe universe, but yeah, it's unfortunate that they just can't put some effort into it. I don't like, and I'm not saying they didn't
might
put effort
have.
into this game. I'm just saying like it seems like it's in a state where if they had just put like another 25% maybe budget into it, that it would be like a legit good beat 'em up game. Or,
good enough,
you know,
right? Just a little better.
Just kind of like just kind of cleaning up some of that jank.
It's Maple powered games, sorry. But yeah, right.
I'm glad to hear that. Sorry that I cut out. I don't know what the hell happened. My whole shit just froze and I had to restart my computer. But it let me jump right back on.
It's fine. So you can tell the game is a massive labor of love for G.I. Joe. There's like scene, you know, like there are some scenes in these beat 'em up games that like there's like a gap in the floor and you either have to jump the gap or take like the bridge across the gap.
Yeah.
The bridge, like the invisible, what would you call it? Like the hit lines or whatever for the bridge.
Yeah.
Were wider than the bridge. So like it looked like you were walking in the gap and you still got across. So it's like jank like that. And it's just like, fuck. Like some of the, I mean, it looks good. Like the still frames look good. I think like the overall rating is probably pretty shitty. Let me go to the about. Where are they? Maple Power Games, an independent game studio located in Canada with friends and partners around the world. Exactly like I figured. They have a background in military, finance, and print media. Making games is way more fun than that. No wonder we love what we do. Huh. Make family-friendly games that are as colorful as possible. We're as Canadian as it gets, and we run on maple syrup. They sound like a really wholesome company. MaplePoweredGames.com. But, like, I want to just, like, tell them, like, if you need audio work done, just hit me up. Because it could have been so much better.
Yeah, I don't know what that's about. I mean, it could be that they do have quality audio recording. It's just how the game processes it, how they programmed it is why it sounds like butthole.
I mean, maybe it's that. Maybe the Cobra Commander guy that they got is actually the guy who plays Cobra Commander, and he had a shitty audio recording interface and didn't know he was fucking up the gain. And then he sent him those files. And we're like, we'll just take them. It sounds like Cobra Commander. I don't know. But I don't know, dude. Anyways, I've been, like I said, I put off Darkest Dungeon my last run. I tried to do my last run last night. I was halfway through it and I died. I had to kill the lair boss to get his head to get into the mountain to fight the last boss. And he fucking just annihilated me. The Leviathan is what it is, this sea creature. He's fucking rad, but he's really probably one of the hardest lair bosses in the game. But I don't know, man. Someone just needs to fucking like make a better G.I. Joe game. Jake, what about you? What are you playing? You playing anything?
Yeah, so I'm still playing Indiana Jones. Mm-hmm. Speaking of jankiness, like this game has some jank in places that I just find sort of off-putting. I mean, the game as a whole is obviously still great, but there's like these like sections where you have to do platforming that just it's not good. Like you're like in the water and you're trying to. So there's this section I played today where you're in the water and you're trying to avoid getting attacked while you're in the water, and you keep having to like jump across these platforms. Or if you fall in the water, you have to get back up out of the water on these platforms before you you get hit. And there are like these platforms that are like sticking out, and you're like, oh, I'm like, you're trying to jump onto them, and it's like hopping up, but you can't jump onto them, and it's like, well, I guess I just can't jump onto that specific platform, even though it looks like I should be able to.
Yeah.
So I'm like swimming around trying to find another platform to get up onto. And there's just some, like I mentioned last week, there's some jankiness to it that I think is fully the result of them trying to be too immersive with the game. They should have let it be a little bit more arcadey, and then it probably would have worked a lot better. And a little bit more gamified a little bit more. It probably like Uncharted, you know. I mean, granted, that's third person, which helps a lot too, but like the platforming in that game is, other than the times where you like miss a jump or something like that, it works great because it's pretty gamey. It's not like realistic. You jumping and climbing and doing all this shit. Yeah, they have good animation and stuff, but like you can go real fast or real slow, and like in this game they try to make it too real, and it creates this level of what feels like jankiness in a video game. But bit of a digression. I still really like it. I'm ready to be done with it though. So and I think I'm pretty close to the end. I'm just trying to kind of get through it. I have not gone back to Metaphor. I'm just trying to get through Indiana Jones before I go back to it.
Right.
Then let's see. So when I went on my trip, I didn't want to take a console with me because I had no idea what the family was going to be up to, what we were going to be doing, because we'd have a hotel room to ourselves, but it's always tricky hooking a console up to a hotel TV, and sometimes you have input lag and there's all this weird shit going on. So I actually dusted off my Vita and took that with me. And what I did was I downloaded like 2 or 3 games to take with me. But what ended up happening was I booted up Sound Shapes, and I ended up just playing through all of Sound Shapes while I was on my trip.
Wow.
And man, that game is so... Now, to be fair, to beat the campaign in Sound Shapes does not take very long. It probably takes maybe 3 to 5 hours to get through all the levels. But there's a couple things. Like, one, I forgot how kind of hard Sound Shapes is.
It got tough. Yeah.
Some of the levels are pretty tough, especially if you want to get all the coins. The coins actually like add to the music. Like if you want to get them all, it does make it harder. And there were a few levels where I like missed one coin and I have no idea where I missed it at. So I'm kind of bummed about that. But I got all of the coins in I think every level but 2 or 3. Dude, this game, Sound Shapes is so good. I can't believe they haven't made another one. And I don't know if maybe it just didn't sell well.
Who was the studio? Do you remember?
I think it was Queasy Games, I think is what I want to say. But it was like, I'm pretty sure it was a second party game published by PlayStation. So Sony might own the IP for Sound Shapes. And I didn't have internet.
Games.
Yeah, and I didn't have internet while I was at the hotel, but one of the things I kind of want to do now that I'm home is get online and download some user-generated content. Because I bet there are some awesome fucking user levels for this game. With just like 6 sound, like videos or
you think they shut down the servers though? Do you think that stuff's even available anymore?
I don't know. That's why I want to pull it up and try it. Maybe they are shut down, but I know we've mentioned it before on the podcast, but a long time ago when this game came out, we actually both made a level and we put the songs from our levels on the podcast
as the closing song
for people to listen to as the closing song, which was really cool. And I kind of wanted to go back to on the podcast and see if I could find those episodes to hear what those levels sounded like, because when I installed it, it was like I'd never played the game before. Like, none of my shit is on there. None of my save games were on there. So I don't know what happened with all that. But then again, like I said, I didn't have internet access while I was at the hotel. So maybe if I was online, it would bring all that in. But dude, it's so good. I would love to see Sony at the very least re-release this game with like extra content, maybe some new artists adding albums to it or something. I think it would be so cool. Or maybe like a spiritual successor to it or something even would be kind of rad. But it's so fun. I do really like it. And one of the things I will say is that, dude, like in the campaign, it's split into like in like imagine Super Mario World. There's a bunch of worlds, and then each world has like a series of levels. Whereas like in Sound Shapes, it's split into albums, and each album has a bunch of tracks that you play through. And dude, that fucking Beck album is so awesome. Just like the levels and like the special graphics for the special things that you do on the album that Beck did the music for is so cool. It's like it's the last album in the campaign.
Yeah.
The other one, the
sick.
Jim. Yeah, and like the other one was the Jim Guthrie / Super Brothers one. That one was really fucking rad too. That's the one where you're like going through like the facility, and there's all like the workers that you like go up and down the elevators, and it's really cool. I'm really stoked about playing back through that again. And honestly, like, it just reminds me again that the Vita is just such a rad piece of kit. It's such a cool handheld. I will say that it does, like, there were some of those Beck levels where there was a lot of shit going on the screen. It did slow down a little bit while I was playing it, which I thought was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
But still, considering it's a very, cartoony kind of 2D experience, but it still did feel really good playing it. So, and to be honest, it was strange. Typically when I play 2D platformers, I want to use the D-pad for everything. But in this one, it's easier to use the joystick than the D-pad, because I don't know if you remember, a big aspect of the game is that the little blob you control sticks to the environment. And so a lot of the platforming is you like going around like the edge of shapes and like hanging from the ceiling and stuff like that. And sometimes when you're going around these objects, and even sometimes those objects that you're going around are moving, it's difficult with the D-pad to kind of make the blob go the direction you want it to go. It's a little bit easier to use the joystick to do that. But otherwise, yeah, super rad game. If I don't think there is, dude, I don't even think there's a PS4 version.
Yeah, there is. I looked it up. They ported
it. There is a PS4 version?
They ported it. So I found the developer behind Queasy Games, and her name is Jessica Mack. And it says that she was developing a game with Annapurna Interactive in 2021. It was announced. And it was supposed to be Polygon, apparently. Some sort of online showcase in 2021. Polygon said the project drew inspiration from music games, including Rez. But there's nothing. I just went to the threads for this person, and the last thing they had was from where'd it go? 2023? And it looks cool, the video. It just said, I got these Starry Lake reflections working in the game I'm making. July of 2023, but that was the last post. So I have no idea This person also made Everyday Shooter, which was a pretty successful game, I thought. Interesting.
Well, that said, the fact that there's a PS4 version of this game means that you can play it on PS5, and you should definitely play it. I say the royal you should definitely play it if you have any interest. It is especially if you're into music and you like rhythm games and stuff.
Sound shapes are fucking rad.
It's so cool. So
I'm glad
give
you
it a
played
go.
that.
But that's basically where I'm at.
Yeah, very good. All right, so that's what you've played. I'm gonna say revisited sound shapes. All right, cool. All right, well let's. We got no listener feedback, but we're gonna jump into this topic real quick for the show. 7:00 p.m. on a Monday night. We don't need to go crazy into this, but let's talk about some of our game picks for 2024. Games that we really liked. We kind of touched on this. Some of the games we got a lot of playtime when we talked about our wrap last episode, which got a lot of YouTube views, so thank you for that. But I'm trying to think, if 2024 was a good year for me for gaming, I guess we'll put this on there too for me. I waited a long time to play the second Darkest Dungeon because it was early access on Steam for a while and I had no way to play it. And it's a game I started and then I put back down. I did play Final Fantasy 16, but I think if I'll just say my 3 games and then maybe we can have a little discussion about them all. And Jake, any crossovers, and then you can tell me what you might be thinking are some 2024 games that you really, really liked. What Resident Evil did we do in VR this past year? That was this past year, wasn't it?
4. There's 4, Resident Evil 4, and then Village was before that.
Yeah, I think 4 was the one we both played in VR this year, and that was cool. But I'm trying to think, what was the other thing?
It was released.
When did Alan Wake 2 come out?
That was when did I think it was last year.
Okay.
Because remember at the Game Awards they did the dance.
Oh yeah.
Last year.
Yeah, right. All right, yeah. So it was at the end of last year. But anyways, so the games that I played in 2024, I know Dead Space Remake didn't come out this year, but it is a game I gave some attention to. I liked it, so we'll just put that on and take it right off the list. Helldivers 2, Darkest Dungeon 2, Astrobot, Space Marine 2, and then Resident Evil in VR. And, maybe I'll say Metro Awakening, because getting another taste of Metro this year has been awesome. Even though I have 2 chapters left, I'm still, by all means, getting back into that. Those were the games in 2024 that really resonated with me. I know there were other bigger games, obviously, like Balatro and Metaphor and Rebirth, I think, might have even come out this year. And, games that probably meant a lot more to other people, but these were the bangers for me, for sure. Helldivers 2 was really fun. Graphics, I think it took everybody by surprise. I think that games that don't have a high expectation tend to do better when it turns out that they're good games, because you're not going into it with a notion of what it should or shouldn't be. I think that's the best way to approach games, but I don't know. Helldivers 2 was a nice surprise. Darkest Dungeon 2, not the game I thought I was getting, but I think I like it better than the first one now. Astrobot, amazing. I'm not very far in it, but I did make some headway into it. And then Space Marines 2 was a little rinse and repeat, but I just love that world. And then you can't beat the 2 VR games, Metro and Resident Evil 4. Jake, anything to say about any of these? Is there any crossover here? Would you agree on some of these?
Obviously Astrobot and Space Marine 2 were both highlights for me. Astrobot is, I'm not even joking when I say Astrobot might be one of the best 3D platformers ever made. And that's pretty impressive considering we're talking about games like Ratchet and Clank and freaking Super Mario, like the Super Mario games and everything. Am I going to sit here and say that it's like it is the best platformer ever made? No, I'm not going to say that. But like, I think that it really showcases how a 3D platformer can feel both familiar and also come into a modern era at the same time with using all the features of the DualSense and just a bunch of new just to feel new with all of the technology that we have nowadays. Space Marine 2 was I thought it was great. I mean, am I going to sit here and say it's 10 out of 10? No, it had some problems, but it was incredibly fun to play. It made you feel like a freaking badass. I really think that they did a phenomenal job of taking a cult classic that people really adored in Space Marine for PS3 and Xbox 360 and bringing that into the future with Space Marine 2. I love just pretty much everything about that game. I had some qualms with like some of the I don't want to say it was like the difficulty that bugged me about it, but there's some ways, sometimes there are ways where you have to play that game that I didn't like. Like I hate parts in games like this where it's we've mentioned this on the podcast before, where it's like a defend the thing level.
Right.
Like I hate those levels in any game.
Levels suck.
And there are probably half a dozen sections in this game where you have to defend the thing from hordes of enemies for like 10 minutes. And it's like, I would rather just like be able to play at my own pace and do my own thing. Like I feel like it's a little bit, it's just like those portions almost feel like filler to me, where it's like trying to stretch out the use of those assets for a bit by making you stay in one spot for a while. And I mean, I guess it's kind of a clever way to do things, but it's just not the way I prefer to play games. But otherwise, I really enjoyed it. I mean, I loved a lot of basically everything else about that game. The way, like, just the visual component of that game and the way that it felt to play was just top notch, in my opinion. Let's see here. Helldivers 2, I didn't really play other than a couple levels. I didn't play Darkest Dungeon 2 at all. I haven't played Metro Awakening, although I'm very interested in it. Technically, RE4 and Dead Space Remake were released last year. Yeah. But both... I mean, I haven't played RE4 in VR, but I've played RE4 by itself, like the original RE4, and I played Village in VR, so I can almost guarantee that I'm gonna love RE4 in VR and the RE4 remake in VR. I just have yet to get to it. It was one of the things I actually kind of wanted to get to over my Christmas break, but I've just been so busy and traveling and stuff. I just haven't had. I've honestly been playing less video games on my break than I normally do. Yeah, I'm super into pretty much everything that we talked about here. I don't think that you have anything here that I disagree with as far as the games that you've played that you've listed.
Yeah.
So
part of me wants to say everything I played. I didn't really have a bad gaming experience short of like the G.I. Joe game just recently, but it wasn't even bad. It was just disappointing. The Frank Stone game was actually kind of fun. You know, it was my least favorite Supermassive game till the end, and then it got turned it up, and I don't know, man. I played a lot of cool shit this year. It was a good year for video games, really, for PlayStation in general. And I'm looking at the next header here for our show topic, and it's games that we should be looking forward to in 2025. And if I'm being completely honest, I don't even know what's...
You don't want me to give you my games?
Oh, I thought that was pretty much... Yeah, give me your games, yeah.
No, I just commented on your games.
Go for it.
So
type them in there too.
Okay, so yeah, I hold on here. Let me do this, make it a little bit easier on myself. So the I'm just kind of looking through games that came out this year because I don't really want to dig into games that I played this year that didn't come out this year because there are some that I really liked, but there are obvious ones like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I think is a phenomenal game. I do think that it is too long. I think that they added too much open world stuff to it to kind of bloat it out some. And I think that they really could have tightened it up a bit and made it, and it would have been perfect. But all in all, like if you just ignore like the open worldy kind of stuff, it's a solid, top notch sequel to Final Fantasy VII Remake, which came out in 2020. And I know you played Remake, right? But you didn't play Rebirth.
Right.
So Remake was awesome. And I think that Rebirth is probably even better.
Wow.
But I think that the downfall of Rebirth, in my opinion, is just the sort of open world areas that are, in my opinion, a little bit excessive for this game. They could have tightened it up, and because it took me 80 to 90 hours to beat it. It's like I would have been totally satisfied beating it in 50 hours, like the first game. And so you could tell there's 30 extra hours of shit that you probably could have cut out.
Yeah.
But maybe not. I don't know. I mean, I don't know how games get stitched together. It could be that if you cut all that content, it really affects the way that the game is done or is played. And I just know that there's a lot of side content and shit that I didn't really care for. So there's that. A indie game that I want to shout out is Animal Well, that came out in May, and that game was really fucking cool. It was a Metroidvania style, like 8-bit style game where you're just this little blob kind of running around trying to escape this world, and there's like all these animals running. Everything's kind of animal themed. There's all this weird shit going on, and it's just really well done. I don't really know what else to say. The music is really good. The graphics are really good. It's not one of those Metroidvanias. Like, as much as I love Axiom Verge, there are sections of that game where I just wanted to smash my head against the wall because I didn't know what to do next. I didn't really get that as much with Animal Well, which I appreciated. But at the same time, there's all of this extra secret content that you can do if you want. And like there's so much shit in the game that I didn't do, that I didn't even know existed. But you can find if you're like digging around in all this like secret passages and shit. But that game was really great. I want to shout out one of my favorite games of the year for sure was Stellar Blade, or as Sarah and I refer to it as the TNA simulator because it's just a lot of tits and ass. But it was just a really great game that's kind of a old school sort of hack and slash kind of tactical combat kind of game. It's adjacent to a Souls-like, but it's not nearly as punishing. It just has some tactical elements to the combat, but you don't have to be like this expert master to get through it. It does get pretty challenging at the end, but you can always adjust the difficulty if you need to, unlike Souls-like games. And I don't know, I just really liked it. I mean, obviously it's heavily inspired by Nier Automata, and that shows. But it's so much fun. So I highly recommend people who are interested in it, even if you want to wait till it's on sale or something. If you have any interest in the game, give it a shot. Don't let the discourse around like the sexiness of the main character, as it were, don't let that deter you in any way, because it's still a really fun game to play, and I really enjoyed my time with it. And then I guess the last game that I'll bring up is Metaphor Refantazio, or however you want to pronounce it. I have not finished it, but I'm like right at the end, and it's a great game. Do I think it's as good as something like Persona 5? No, I don't think that it is. I think it has some drawbacks. There are some things that I don't like about it. I don't like how much dialogue is in the game. It drives me freaking crazy that I literally, I'm not kidding you, I'm like 75 hours into the game, and I'm not even fucking around. I wouldn't be surprised if 30 hours of that was just dialogue. And it gets frustrating going through all the like just fast forwarding through all these menus and shit that they just repeat over and over again. But on a story front, on a presentation front, on a gameplay front, on all of that stuff, it's wonderful. So the only other complaint I have from like a JRPG perspective is like, it's really, the game requires you to grind in some areas because there are difficulty spikes like most JRPGs, but because of the calendar structure, it's really difficult to grind without wasting days that need to be used to do other things. So that is one thing that I find a little bit frustrating about it. They do give you the ability to kind of grind if you want to. You can go to a dungeon and just stay there indefinitely. But if you run out of like MP, you kind of have to be done for the day. You can't just like keep grinding, and you just have to go to the next day. So there are some aspects like that I don't really appreciate. But all in all, I still think that it's a great game. Do I think that it's like a 95 or whatever the fuck it is on Metacritic? I don't think so. But I do think that it's really great. And obviously it's not a PlayStation game yet, but I'll give an honorable mention to Indiana Jones, even though I'm still playing it, because I do think that it's a wonderful new game that completely subverted my expectations about what it was going to be. And I'm still really enjoying it. Yeah. So that's where I'm at with 2024 games. I don't know if you have any comments on those games, or if you have any interest in playing any of them.
I think the Stellar Blade could be fun. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that you, like I said, for you, because I'm not sure how you feel about these types of games, I would maybe wait till you can get it for like a decent sale.
Yeah.
But or maybe it might even come to, because it was an exclusive, it might even come to PS Plus or Extra or something like that at some point.
That's kind of what I'm thinking.
But I definitely would try it out once you have access to it, because you might really get into it.
Well, I played Nier Automata, and I like that. It kind of has some of the same style to it.
Yeah, it doesn't have like you remember how Nier Automata would like switch up the gameplay from time to time? Wild. You're like, it doesn't do anything like that, but it does have like the same atmospheric kind of charms and those types of things. Right. So yeah, you might dig it. The combat is really fun too. Yeah.
And I'd like to get into Rebirth at some point. I just don't have 90. Well, I guess apparently I do, because I've been playing Darkest Dungeon 2 for forever. But I didn't beat the first one, Darkest Dungeon, so I'm okay with dumping all the time I need to beat the second one, just so I can get one under my belt. But I do want to play Rebirth at some point too. That's on my list, but when I'll get to it, I couldn't tell you. But no, it's a good list, man. I like that. So, closing out 2024, bringing in 2025, Jake. I think I have a couple games now that I've done a little bit of research here for me. There's that one. I'm typing these. There's that one. And I think there were like 2 more I saw on here. Oh, yeah, this one for sure. And there might be one more. Hold on, listeners. We're so prepared. Jake did the notes, thankfully, but I don't... Oh. Yeah, maybe... Yeah, probably just this one, and maybe. So, some of the 2025 games, I just did a quick look that I am sure that I'm interested in. I want to see what the next installment of Ghost of Tsushima has, which is Ghost of Yotei. And that looks good. Looks like a lot of the same. And I didn't really play Ghost of Tsushima for the story, if I'm being honest. But I'm excited to try it. The new one, when that comes out. I'm sure it will be visually pleasing. And any kind of game like this is cool. Jake, any interest in Ghost of Yotei for 2025?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I loved Ghost of Tsushima. I'm with you.
Or
like,
Yotei.
the story was...
I don't know.
Yotei, I think it is technically. I really enjoyed Ghost of Tsushima. I enjoyed the story of Ghost of Tsushima as well, but like you said, it wasn't really that compelling to me. Like, I thought it was good, but it wasn't like the first time I played The Last of Us or something like that. Like, or even like an Uncharted story where you're like super attached to Nathan Drake and Elena and Sully and stuff. But to me, it's kind of like more on the lines of like a Spider-Man story or something, where it's not obviously not the same vibe, but it's like, it's good and it serves the game and everything, but it's not winning story of the year or anything like that. It's like, you know, it has some compelling moments, like the end of Ghost of Tsushima that was really compelling. There's a duel you do at the end that I think is really rad. I didn't think that Jin Sakai was he wasn't like a very compelling character in that, to a Westerner, like he's very like subdued and like he didn't bring a lot of like emotion and charm to the table that like made me feel really attached to him. But Ghost of Yotei it takes place hundreds of years later. It's got a completely new character. It looks like in the trailer, like maybe you might have a dog or a wolf companion, which might be kind of rad. So I like you said, and even just based on what we saw in the trailer and the environments and everything, just running around the world in Ghost of Tsushima is awesome. And Ghost of Yotei looks like they're just improving on the same thing and giving you more places to go. So I am really interested in Ghost of Yotei and what it has to offer coming in 2025.
Yeah, we haven't seen a whole lot of it so far, so I'm guessing that the PR train is going to be picking up on that, the advertising train. Another game I thought I saw coming out in 2025 is not being developed by the same developer, but Little Nightmares 3. I've played both the first and second of this game, and I'm kind of excited to look into this game. I always like the aesthetic, whatever you want to call it, the settings or whatever. The art direction of the Little Nightmares game has always been cool. I don't know if this is going to be a 2-player game. I don't really want it to be, but you can. It says you can face your fears together with a friend in online co-op or solo against an AI companion. Or solo alongside, an AI companion. And I don't know, I can't remember who... The publisher is Bandai Namco. I don't know who the developer is for this game.
Isn't it Supermassive?
Is Supermassive doing this one? Or was it the company that did the other thing? Who is doing?
Yeah, I think it's Supermassive. Yeah, it is Supermassive.
Cool. Well, even more reason for me to be excited about it. But yeah, Little Nightmares 3 looks pretty dope, if you ask me. And if you go to the PlayStation site, there's two video trailers, and some screenshots that just look superb. And anything in this kind of quality, there's always like a haze in their imagery. There's always like some sort of like opaque kind of just filter that makes it look dusty or gloomy, or they can change the lighting so easily, and there's a lot of depth to their game visually, and I love that about the art style. So I'm excited for this game, and I think it's one to keep your eye on. The first two they got right, and the controls are always a little wonky, but like I like to see this already being announced and very definitely coming out in 2025. Jake, have you played any of the Little Nightmares games?
I have not. My brother and his wife are super into the first two games, but I've never sat down and played it. They seem awesome. Like I like you. Of what I've seen, I really like the aesthetic of these games a lot. But sometimes it's just like I need to just force myself to play these types of games. Like I just played, I think it was last year.
Yeah.
I just played Inside, which people have been saying is like an amazing game forever and ever. And I just have been resistant to playing it. And then finally I just forced myself to play it, and I really liked it. So I don't know. I think I just need to maybe force myself to sit down and play these games.
Yeah, maybe. That was a lot like those games Unraveled 1 and Unraveled 2 with Yarny. Those games just visually are very appealing platformers. I only beat the first one. I have the second one, though. Another game that's coming out in 2025 that we shall not forget to mention is Death Stranding 2. This is exciting, man. I waited so long to play Death Stranding. Didn't play it. It was free. I played it, and I was like, wow. There's something about this game that I really love. And I didn't know what it was. I think it was the fact that I didn't know why I liked it made me like it more. There was some sort of mysterious quality to this game that's just like, man, only Hideo could come up with this fucking thing. And it just felt so fucking fresh. And the characters, and I liked it when the sound kicked in, the songs would kick in. The nightmarish parts of the game, the comedic parts of the game, the super serious parts of the game, the building, the not taking itself too serious parts of the game. Like it's like everything. The first one. And it sounds like he's just doubling down on the fucking crazy story for the second one. So this is slated to come out in 2025, and I hope it just fucking ram jam blows people away. I'm excited for it. Jake?
Yeah, I am excited for it too. I just finished the first game this year, and I played it once. I started it a long time ago, and it just didn't jive with me. And then I decided to try it again this year, and I got myself through it, and I ended up really enjoying it. I still don't really love the package delivery service gameplay. Like, I think it's honestly pretty boring, but I think that there's something about the world that kind of makes you want to keep going. And obviously the story beats are exceptional, and they always leave you wanting more, and whether it's because it's interesting or because you don't know what the fuck's going on.
Right.
And then obviously visually everything's amazing. The performances are all unbelievable. And like you said, probably one of the best parts about Death Stranding is whenever you're you're embarking on a delivery across this wasteland, and then all of a sudden, like, the perfect song starts playing. And, like, I don't understand how Kojima, like, sort of ironed all that out and how he decides what's what and everything. But hopefully the second game is the same, because it is a
fucking cool.
an aesthetic masterpiece. I will say that I hope that the second game opens up a little bit with the combat. Like, one of the things that I found, I thought it was cool from a story perspective, but it was really annoying from a video game perspective, was the fact that, like, you can't kill anybody.
Yeah.
If you do, like, it fucking destroys the world. So, like, it's a real crazy thing. And I think it's a neat idea. But yeah, I don't know. It's very interesting.
Dude.
And the way that he used online in that game was really cool. How
So
people would,
creative.
like, leave stuff for you. The likes system was really sort of strange, but kind of interesting, I suppose. But yeah, I'm 100% on board with Death Stranding 2. We'll see when it comes out, like, if I'm going to play it right away, but I'm definitely interested in playing it for sure.
I just don't even know where I would start. I think my personal hell would be for me to try to accurately describe the story of Death Stranding.
Yeah.
Like, and every time you got it wrong, you just had to start over again. Like, I don't even know, where do you fucking start? It's so convoluted and confusing. Like, it's like the most ridiculous thing. Like, what the fuck? Like, I'd have to play it again. Like, when I beat the game, I thought I understood it all. And then I tried to tell somebody what the game was about, and I just couldn't do it. It was impossible.
Yeah.
Last night I had a dream that One of My Land had this song, and it was so good. And I woke up in the middle of the night, and I could have, like, just picked up a guitar and played it. And I was like, oh yeah, I'll never forget that. Every fucking time, dude. And I forget it.
Yeah.
I forget. I'm gonna.
Of course.
And it's the coolest fucking thing in the world. I know it was, but I was like, oh, that's so good. I'll never forget that. And that's kind of how I feel about Death Stranding. Is like, when you're in it, you're like, yeah, you pick up on all this shit, and you're like, yeah, I understand what's going on. Yeah, that makes sense. And then when your PlayStation turns off, I don't even know what the fuck I just did. Like, you know what I mean? It's a weird magic trick. All right. Well, anyways, Death Stranding 2 2025. And then Hazelight has that game Split Fiction. It's probably going to be a mandatory 2-player game. So I don't know that I'll play it with anybody, but I'm always curious. I'm more curious to see how this game does as opposed to actually playing it for myself. It's got my interest peaked. Jake, anything on that?
Yeah, I'm definitely interested in this game. We'll see when it comes out whether or not I actually play it. I kind of need to know what all that entails, because it's something that I would enjoy playing with Sarah, but this game looks like a game that you might actually have to know how to play video games to play. So I'm not sure if I'll be able to do like a couch co-op kind of thing with it. And it seems like it would be more fun in couch co-op than in like an online capacity. Mm-hmm. But I guess I don't know. I don't know. We'll have to see. I'm definitely interested in the game for sure, but I don't really have a whole lot to say about whether or not I'm actually going to play it, because I don't know. We'll have to wait till it comes out and see how things go.
Yeah. What about you, Jake? What 2025 games are you really stoked about? Or have we touched most of them?
So I've got a couple that are games that I'm really excited about, and then I have a couple of like honorable mentions. So like the first one is the new Doom game, Doom: The Dark Ages. I am 100% all in day one Doom the Dark Ages. I'm so excited. I loved Doom 2016, the reboot, and I loved Doom Eternal. And I have no doubt that the Dark Ages is just going to be fucking rad as well. I'm really curious about how they're going to do the sort of medieval kind of slant to this game, because it seems like it takes place way back when, not necessarily in like a futuristic kind of setting.
Yeah.
So unless there's like a time travel component, like it seems like you might not be like, maybe you won't be playing in like the UAC kind of environments where there's a lot of high technology and shit like that, which may be kind of a bummer to not have those aesthetic kind of influences in the game. But at the same time, I have no doubt that it's going to be a masterclass in first-person gameplay. And plus there's like it looks like you get like a big-ass mech and like a dragon you could fly around. I don't know, man. It looks fucking cool. So I am really excited. Did you ever play Doom Eternal? Did you?
No, I got a free code for it once, and then I thought I already had it, so I didn't use it. Remember when they gave all those free codes away at the Game Awards that one year?
Yeah.
I got one of the Doom Eternal codes, and I was like, I already fucking have this, but I didn't. So and I never played Eternal.
Yeah, it's so good. So I'm super excited about Doom the Dark Ages. Like, do you have any interest in this, or are you
I want to see something on it. I haven't even seen anything about it.
Yeah, I mean, they had that trailer.
I don't even think I saw the trailer.
Well, the trailer was probably the reason why you didn't see it is because I think it was revealed during like an Xbox showcase.
Okay.
But it is confirmed to be coming out for PlayStation 5 and PC as well. So yeah, it looks awesome. The other game that I am super stoked about is the Outerworlds 2, which comes out this year. And the Outerworlds, the first Outerworlds game, which came out, I think it was on PS4, was when we played it, or when I played it at least. Did you play Outerworlds?
No.
It's almost like Fallout Light, but like in space. It's really. Mm-hmm. But it's got a lot of really great writing and humor because it's Obsidian that does it. They're the ones that did Fallout New Vegas.
Okay.
It's really rad. So and like even just like the trailers and stuff they've shown about like that Outerworlds 2 trailer from the Game Awards is just fun, and that's kind of like the vibe of the game a little bit. So like I'm really excited to see how they come up, how they make the sequel, what improvements they make to the gameplay, even if it's just like the Outer Worlds again with like new maps and new story and new characters. Yeah. It'll be really great. So I'm excited about the Outer Worlds 2. If you haven't played the Outer Worlds, sometime you should play it.
You think?
I think you'd really like it. It's if you like Fallout and stuff, you're gonna really like it. And it's not nearly as time consuming or as deep as a Fallout game. It's a lot shorter, but it still has some of those elements. Instead of like a massive open world, it's like smaller, like a few different small little open areas that you run around and do missions in and stuff. And it's got like more of like a hub component to it. It's really cool. Huh. And I'm really excited for the sequel. I'm trying to think if I have anything else that I want to say about it, but it's supposedly coming out in 2025, but we don't have an exact release date on it. I don't think technically we have an exact release date on Doom: The Dark Ages either, but both of them are slated for 2025. And I have no reason to believe that either one will be delayed.
Yeah, right.
And then, so just to throw some honorable mentions out there that are games that look rad that I'm excited about, but I need a little bit more on. I guess this game I am legitimately excited for is Mafia: The Old Country, which we talked about quite a bit last week, or maybe it was the week before that, which I think we both think it looks awesome, right?
Yeah, it looks great.
So I'm really anxious to see, what an old-timey, like a really old-timey Mafia game looks like, taking place in Sicily, which I think is pretty rad. Other games that are honorable mentions are that game Hell Is Us, which was it was like a PlayStation kind of reveal sort of thing.
Yeah, I remember that.
It seems like it's more of like a Soulsy kind of game, but it looks like it's a future, like high technology kind of mixed with like a sort of like an apocalyptic kind of environment sort of thing. It almost looks like you took what's that game? What's that Tom Clancy game?
Division?
The one that you liked. They made two of them.
Wildlands?
No. The shared world shooter one.
Breakpoint?
Third person shooter. What's that?
Breakpoint?
Starts with a D.
I just keep Division. The Division's the only thing I think of.
Yeah, The Division.
Oh, yeah.
So it almost looks like The Division, but mixed with like some Soulsy melee combat and like it's got some weird vibes to it. And I don't know if I'm gonna like it because it really depends how dark, how Soulsy it is. I freaking hate that term, but it kind of conveys what I mean.
Yeah, right.
Because I really did enjoy Stellar Blade, and people were comparing that to a Souls-like. So if this game is similar, where you have the ability to sort of adjust the difficulty and you need it if you need to, but at the same time, it's got the tactical combat that you would expect in a similar type Souls game, I would definitely be interested in it. The other game that I want to bring up is Crimson Desert.
Okay,
which
yeah.
I feel like we've been hearing about this game forever.
Yeah, we have.
And so I don't know if it's ever going to come out,
Quite
but
some time.
supposedly it's going to come out in 2025, and it just looks like a really rad open world Western medieval RPG. And it's made by the studio that did Black Desert, which is an MMO, but this is supposedly like a fully single player offline kind of RPG, and it looks really good. The graphics look amazing. The gameplay looks really good.
Right.
The world looks really good. The single player components of it, the dialogue, everything looks really interesting. A couple more honorable mentions, and then I'll let you kind of comment on these, Fred. Is I want to shout out the Lunar Remastered Collection, which is there was a couple of Lunar games that were JRPGs that came out on the PS1, and I never really played them too deeply, but I did play Lunar: The Silver Star Story for quite a bit and remembered really enjoying it way back when. So I'm interested when these games come out and maybe giving it another shot, especially if they have quality of life improvements like speeding up the gameplay, or maybe even making it so that it's really easy to win battles or whatever, like allow you to like grind easier and stuff like that. I might be a lot like really interested in playing these. And the last game that I want to shout out is that is supposedly coming out in in 2025 is Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Which is obviously the remake of Metal Gear Solid 3. And I don't know, man. I never was like the biggest fan of Metal Gear Solid 3. I I have it for PS2, and I never beat it because I didn't really like all of the survival elements to it. And on PS2, a lot of times when you're in the jungle, like finding out where the fuck you are was a little bit challenging at times. But I know it's a lot of people's favorite Metal Gear Solid game, and I'm pretty sure, Fred, you played it on like Vita or
yeah, the Metal Gear Solid
remake.
Collection on Vita, and I played it on there.
And I think you really liked it.
I loved it.
And so that game is supposedly coming out this year, and I'm definitely interested in checking it out because I never did see the original game through, so this might be my ticket to go back to this game and have a go. I do wonder if what was that? What's the bad guy that's like the super old sniper guy? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
His name is like, it's something time related. I can't remember what it is off the top of my head.
I'll look it up. Keep talking.
But there's like, I wonder if they'll keep the like the Kojima-esque shit in it. Like I'm pretty sure that bad guy, if you just hide and you wait long enough with the game running, he'll just die of old age. Like, do you know of this?
Yeah, I think you can outlive him. What game?
But I
what's
think
it
you
called?
have to wait a long
What's
time.
the game again?
Metal Gear Solid 3?
Three. Snake Eater. I couldn't remember that. I'm sitting here trying to type it in. I want to know his name. The End.
The End, yeah.
Such a
right.
cool fucking name for a character.
Yeah, it's really rad. So, and obviously, like in the Metal Gear games, like the bosses that you fight are they're always so fucking cool.
Isn't there one like Mantis something? Like something.
Psycho Mantis was not in Metal Gear Solid 3.
Wasn't in that one?
In the original Metal Gear Solid.
Who was the guy on rollerblades?
That was Fat Man,
Yeah.
and that was Metal Gear Solid 2.
Okay.
This one has the end. It has that guy. It has the boss, who is the lady that you're looking for. I think
Right.
she's
I don't know
like
how you
the
remember
main
all this
bad
shit.
dude. Yeah, I don't know. It just kind of sticks with me. I
amazing.
don't remember anything, but sometimes this shit sticks in my head.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's
That's awesome.
yeah, the pain, the boss, the fear, the fury, the sorrow, and the end are the bosses. And which is so rad. Like I love the theme of even like all the names of all the bad guys.
It's so fucking metal.
But yeah, so that's basically it for me as far as like the games that I'm kind of excited for. So
Cool.
Are you excited about any of these games that I've mentioned?
Yeah, I think all of them. The only one I'm not really excited for is, well, two. Lunar Remastered would be cool. The Crimson Desert, I don't know. It just looks like it's going to be a time suck.
Yeah.
Hell is
for
Us,
sure.
I'm curious about, optimistically curious. And then Metal Gear Solid Delta sounds awesome. But Mafia, we've already talked about that. That looks cool. Just the setting and the graphics look really good on it. It's all going to come down to how it plays. You know, that Mafia game. You know, if it handles well, if it plays well, I think, and if the setting is diverse enough, it's not all in the same city. It will be, but like if they mix it up enough and you can go into enough buildings and do enough interesting things, I think that game could be really good. I don't think it's going to give us anything new, though, outside of the setting and the time period. You know.
Oh, you know what other game I just saw that I'm super amped on that I totally forgot about is that Claire Obscure Expedition 33 game.
Oh, yeah, that's, no way, I don't know what that is.
It's like a JRPG, but like Western styling. Like it.
Oh, I
looks
do remember
so
that. That looked
cool.
awesome. We talked about that on
Yeah.
other shows.
So that game should be definitely on the list as well because it looks super rad.
Cool. Very good, man. We don't have a whole lot else to say today. I got to go to work in the morning. I'm exhausted. But we're right around the bend from 2025. So I just want to wish you all a good, happy New Year's. Hopefully 2025 has lots of positive things in love and friends and family and gaming and all that good stuff. Health, good health. What else do people say around the end of the year? Like, I want you to have peace, love, and something. I don't know.
Yeah, be nice to people. Try to make yourself a little bit of a better person in 2025 if you can. And yeah, I don't know. Play video games. Right into the show. Give us a shout out.
Yeah,
if you want.
Give us some love this new year. I know you already do if you're listening to this, but let's get some more people on board of the podcast this year. See what we can do. You know, we've been here putting the work in, having conversations, recording them, putting them online for you guys, trying to give you good content. I would love to get into. It seems stupid, and I don't think anyone would even watch, but like be able to stream with better mic audio and interact with people. But I mean, if I had an audience, I would do that maybe, just to joke around and fuck around with people who listen to the show. But we don't have that kind of an audience, so because I'm thinking because I streamed my boss or my third confession, didn't stream it, but I uploaded it for Darkest Dungeon and had quite a bit of views on that, beating the Focused Fault. But it just seems like people want to watch gameplay. And I don't do nearly enough cool shit in video games to post it, but that felt like a success. But streaming that G.I. Joe game would have been really fucking funny because I had a lot of shit to say about it. But I didn't. I just played it in the confines of my own home and kept it to myself. But I think something like that could have gone over pretty well with people. But anyways, yeah, maybe some streaming in 2025. We'll see. But yeah, you guys have a good New Year's. Jake, what do you want to say before we leave? Anything else?
Nope.
All right, very good.
Have fun.
Yeah. Like Okami, Onimusha, and Octodad. P.S.
Yes.
This is awesome.
This is awesome.